Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New View podcast. My name is Mac.
And my name is Megan.
Come along with us as we dive into the world of competitive Irish dancing and beyond.
Sharing perspectives, developing community, and learning from each other.
We hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone. We're so excited to welcome our first musician guest to New View. Luke Sooy is one of the up-and-coming stars in the Irish dance music scene, and he's had a great journey both as a dancer and now a musician, and we're super excited to hear his story and learn from him today. So, Luke, do you want to tell us a bit about what it was like for you starting in Irish dance to where you are now, both as a dancer and now a musician, and just whatever you want to share in that respect?
Yeah. So I started at the age of 4 years old, dancing, and I was actually in a different organization that didn't really have live music. So that was always interesting. So when I made the move, probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I've heard the live music at the festivals for the first time, it was just really, really inspiring. So I had a competitive career from about 4 to 15. And then I had some battles with injuries and transferred more to the music side, thankfully. Uh, I liked competing a lot, but yeah, the music is definitely has a certain effect on me
Your
that I
jam.
enjoy. Yeah.
That's cool. So, were you first exposed to like the accordion and Irish music from dancing, or did you kind of experience that somewhere else? Or was dancing kind of how you were introduced to it and how you figured out that that was something you wanted to try?
Yeah, it was definitely all through dancing. Growing up and just listening to it, listening to Sean O'Brien, Anton, and Sully. That was like the first music I ever heard, which is funny now. It's coming full circle, but yeah, it's yeah, it was through the dancing for sure.
That's incredible. I love that. And I know I can speak for Megan and myself also. Like we've both grown up listening to Sean O'Brien and Anton and Sully.
Yeah,
I actually remember saying when the Fesh app first came out, it was so kind of this weird thing for me because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so many of like the sounds of my childhood all in one place. Like I
yeah,
could pop around from all these different musicians that I just like grew up listening to, and then they were all in one spot. So that's pretty cool. But I think for you, that's especially cool. You have some exciting news that you're going to be now a full-on official Fesh app musician. So that's pretty exciting. I definitely want to talk a little bit more about that, but can you tell us a little bit about how have you become the musician that you have now? Like what has that journey been like? Like how has it been learning all of that?
yeah. So it started during COVID. Um, 2020, we were locked down, and my mom had a friend with an estate sale business. So they surprised me, worked together, surprised me with a nice like $50 accordion from an estate sale. Super hard to play, leaked air. But it was great to learn on because it helped me improve my technique, learning on that instrument. But yeah, so I kind of started messing around with that, and then through studio to stage the year before that is actually when I had met Sean.
Oh,
Uh, um, so I had been talking to him, got some lessons with him, and I kind of consistently did lessons through COVID. Did consistent like piano accordion lessons for about 3 years, and he's just an amazing teacher. Um, and yeah, it was a lot of consistent practice and a lot of work, but I also loved it. So that's probably the what helped me get to where I am the most.
well,
Yeah, that's
you'll go ahead, Megan.
I was just wondering then, with saying like the practice definitely helps and all of that. How does that then relate to like your experience as a dancer too, and that kind of like developing a passion through that, and then also growing into something new and developing like a massive passion within music as well?
Yeah, so I definitely had like that consistent practice mindset from growing up dancing so competitively, and I kind of used that, and I kind of knew that was the way to get to where I wanted to be. And as far as where the music came from, the dancing, I'd say I'm always trying to think about like if I was a dancer, if I was competing, what I would want the music to sound like. So I try to play in that way. Um,
That's
that what would
cool.
inspire me as a dancer. Yeah,
That is so cool. That is really cool. Like that was one of the things I wanted to ask you too, is like how do you find having, the experience of growing up competing, how does that influence your process as a musician? And I think that that's pretty like amazing that you can articulate that. Like, no, I actually think about that. I think about what would I want to be dancing to.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we should all definitely appreciate. I'm curious too to like sort of double click on the practice and training side of things. So when you were learning well, and you've been still like, I think taking like fairly regular like check-ins with Sean and stuff too.
Mhm.
What does that process sort of look like for you? Was it like one lesson a week and then you would go away and do the things that he sort of gave you as homework and then you would see him again? Or like, and was that similar to your dance experience or different in the way you like were learning dancing?
Yeah. So yeah, once a week, like as a standard, probably throughout when I was learning, it was about once a week. And then he would give me some material to work on for the next week. In the beginning, it was like there were some more exercises and more technical stuff, of course, with the actual instrument. And yeah, it's I kind of gave myself that training regimen from dancing. For dancing, I was probably practicing 4 or 5 times a week, even at that time during COVID.
Hmm.
But that, yeah, I having all that time actually like gave me so much time to just focus on music and dancing both at the same time. And of all the things for from COVID, that was definitely the best.
Yeah, it like gave you that structure and something to
Yeah,
work towards.
yeah,
Totally. I think there's something really effective about it. It's interesting because I think a lot of us um, dancers, we've got classes and we see our teachers multiple times a week, and that's great. And we're always getting feedback. But there is something really effective about knowing that you're only going to see your teacher like once a week or whatever. And it's like you have that certain amount of time to fix or work on whatever it was they told you, and you kind of have that
yeah,
deadline. Whereas when it's like, oh, I got class tomorrow, like, the deadline's a little bit less there or something. I don't know if
yeah,
that
yeah,
feels true for you.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
That's cool. Um, so then would Sean teach you like specific tunes or would you go away and learn tunes at a certain point or
Yeah, so for about the first probably 2 years, he would give me some tunes, and I'd practice those tunes and come back and play them for him. And then once they were good enough, we would put them kind of in a list and start building like a smaller repertoire. And then once I got comfortable enough where I was at the point of reading music better and everything, like I started branching out, kind of learning my own stuff, and even I'd show him probably once a week to some of the new stuff I'd learned, and we'd add it to that list. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. And like that's the other cool thing I think about being a musician is like you can always be adding to the list like new tunes
yeah,
that you can learn.
it's endless.
Yeah. And then like composing your own stuff too and all of that. Because you have an album obviously coming out on the Fesh app. That's pretty exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What has that process been like?
Yeah, so it's like my first recording experience putting anything out. So it's been definitely a learning experience. It's been a journey. But yeah, so there's a lot of compositions in there that are mine, and it's also my first time composing tunes. So I just yeah, I did the best that I could on them, and I'm really excited to share them.
Totally. I think
Yeah.
we're all like really excited to hear them.
Yeah, I definitely am. What's what's it like composing a tune from your perspective, just in that, or maybe this isn't relatable to dancing, maybe it is, but a lot of us, like have some input on our dancing and steps, but a lot of it is, oh, like I learned this from my teacher and all of that.
Yeah,
But having that
yeah.
full like creative freedom, what's that been like?
It's been awesome. It's like most of my tunes that I've composed, I've already been sitting in front of an instrument, kind of just thinking about it, kind of messing around. But in other moments, like I could be like at the grocery store, somewhere. It's just something's going in my head, and I'm like, all right, I need to take my phone, voice memo. So I have a few of those that I will not share in my phone. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's kind of like that. Sometimes it comes to me. Sometimes it's like, all right, I'm sitting down. I know I'm gonna write a tune. It's just we'll see what comes out of it.
That's so
Cool.
cool.
I like it. A different artistic process,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever in
definitely.
the moment. It's not like forced necessarily.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So I'm also curious too. You've been obviously now playing feshes.
Mhm.
Can you explain? Because I just cannot even imagine. Like, I know I go to a fashion, I'm nervous to dance, or I'm nervous for watching the kids that I sometimes help out with, or whatever. But genuinely, like, I could not imagine sitting down and playing a fesh, or like, let alone a major. I feel like in my mind, I would think that's nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I watch all these musicians and I've been lucky to see you play at feshes and it just looks like it's so natural and you're, just in your habitat doing your thing. So what is that experience
Mhm.
like for you?
Well, it's definitely more of a natural thing now. In the beginning, I was probably a little more nervous, and definitely even for some of the Oireachtases, I was like, all right, this is it's kind of a big deal. It's going to be on Fest TV forever.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, but I don't know. It's just kind of a feeling that I have, and it's very very comfortable now. And yeah,
Yeah.
That's really interesting. As like a dancer, I would say, yes, I'm like comfortable on stage, but I've never not been like really nervous. Even if it's a tiny fesh
yeah,
or
yeah,
like the words or whatever, I'm still nervous. And I'm always like looking at the not the judges, the musicians to be like, are they nervous? Are they nervous? Like, which I shouldn't be doing, but I am always doing that because I do wonder, like, are they like super overwhelmed too? Like they have a harder job than I do. Like
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's so interesting to hear, though. But
Um,
cool.
yeah, no, it is cool. Is it like at the beginning of the day when you're kind of like getting warmed up? Do you feel like, oh, a little bit like nerves, butterflies, and then as you're obviously like playing tune after tune, then it subsides more, or does it just feel like chill right from the start?
It depends on the. I would say it probably depends on the fish. It depends on a few different factors. But generally now I'm pretty relaxed. In the beginning, I was definitely like nervous a little bit in the beginning. But there's so many different things going on. Like I like to listen what's coming out of like the main speakers. I'm a little worried about that, like what the mix is, for sure. And that's it's something that I get more comfortable with throughout the day and get more comfortable with the sound of the room. Um, and that helps me play better, I think.
That's really interesting because obviously that's something I have been aware of is that, as a musician, like you're obviously attuned to like, okay, what does this sound like? Not me just playing the right notes, but what is the sound quality in the room and
Yeah,
think about like where the speakers are pointing or just like various things that I'm sure I'm not even aware of that you have to be aware of.
yeah,
Um, so that's really interesting. And I know, like different venues are obviously better than others.
hmm,
I've definitely heard musicians saying, ugh, like this sounds like it's like a cavernous room. It's not nice to play in necessarily. Like, even though you're doing your job, it just might not be great acoustics, or, you're in like an amazing concert hall and the acoustics are fantastic.
yeah,
So that's definitely something I think as dancers we probably take for granted. Like, we have to deal with the quality of the stage or whatever, and like that's what we have to contend with. But I think as dancers, sometimes I don't know, overlook that musicians have a lot to deal with and think about too. We just kind of assume they're just doing their thing and it's whatever. Um, but that's most certainly not the case, I would say.
hmm,
There's a lot going on. Um,
To consider like that we're both contributing to the final result. We wouldn't be on the stage and having this like great performance if there wasn't the music contributing to it. And like the music is further like made beautiful by the dancing and all of that. So it's just interesting to consider that it does like tie into one whole performance put
yeah,
together. And just like Mac was saying, I don't think as a dancer, even though I love the music, it's like the best part of the fesh for me.
yeah,
But I often consider like, oh, maybe this isn't the best environment or whatever. Like, I don't think that. I'm always just like, oh, this is amazing and great. So
yeah.
I don't know, maybe that makes you feel better. doesn't. I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
think
it
it's
definitely does.
No, it is. And Megan, I'm glad you brought that up, like how important the music really is to what we do. I think, we're in the world of Irish dancing and, it's Irish dancing, but like dancing wouldn't be dancing without music. Like we just randomly be moving around, I think. Like the music is what allows the dancing to be like a piece of art, I think. And sure, there's like great a cappella pieces and whatever, but I think when it comes down to it, like the music is kind of what everything is born from in a way. And so I'm really excited, Luke, like to see you like bursting onto the scene, I guess, of the music world, because I think, and you and like plenty of other like new musicians that are coming up is like, it's great that the music's in great hands as well. And I think the same is true for dancing, but I think it's great to see all aspects of like what we do just evolving, and it's exciting to think about where you're going to take it. And you're definitely standing on the shoulders of giants. That's one of my favorite things, but I would say that's for sure true, and that's like super cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think you've got some pretty exciting things coming up as well, playing the nationals. How are you
Yeah,
feeling about that?
I'm really excited. Again, with Sean being my teacher, it's a full circle moment. Like we went from these lessons every week on a screen. Now we're gonna be sitting at the nationals for 6 days playing tunes. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
That's really
truly,
cool.
it really is gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to just be
You'll
taking
have fans
notes.
in the audience.
Oh
It'll be really
yeah,
nice.
Thank you.
we will be fangirling for sure. Um,
I
That's
have like a burning question that I bet lots of other dancers might have.
Hmm.
But specifically, like through my experiences in dancing, when you get a tune on stage and it's like one of your favorites and you're the dancer and
Yeah.
it just like makes everything perfect and feels electric. Do you ever feel a sense of that as a musician? Like, ooh, I know this is good. Like I'm contributing to something like beautiful here. Because I
Y-
feel that when I'm dancing, like when the music starts and I'm like, oh, I love that tune. Like this is gonna be good. Do you get that sense at all, or am I silly?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, absolutely. And it's awesome, you're playing a tune and the dancing is so good that I kind of have to like stop watching sometimes and like I gotta focus. I gotta focus. But it's yeah, like the blend of it together, it's um it's just awesome. And I think the dancing contributes so much to what we do. And that's why we do it.
nice. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Super quick fire question. What's your most favorite type of tune to play? Like real, jig, hornpipe, whatever. And then what's your least favorite to play?
Ooh. Um I'd say my favorite is probably slip jigs. I like slip jigs a lot. My least favorite, it's hard. Um, maybe treble jigs, but not in the way it's like I wouldn't want to play treble jigs. It's just of the four, it probably would be at the bottom.
Fair enough. And
Are
is
you
it
into more minor tunes or like what's your vibe there?
So I broke up there for a second.
Oh, are you more into minor tunes
Oh,
when you play a slip? What do you think?
yeah. Um, I like minor tunes a lot. There's a lot of great major ones that definitely get overlooked sometimes. But yeah, minor tunes are always great.
I feel like
yeah.
that's a fan favorite, like for dancers.
That's yeah. Usually when someone has a favorite tune, they're asking you to play it. It's a minor tune, minor reel.
That's so funny because okay, so I feel like what I actually would gravitate towards like a more like pretty, like maybe sort of like sentimental major slip jig tune.
Yeah,
Whereas my dancing teacher, like Barb, she she would definitely gravitate more towards like a minor tune. And I feel like I always get minor slip jigs when I'm at like a big major.
You
And
do, I've noticed
I
that.
generally do. And every time I'm counting it, I'm like, like I wanted a more major tune, but I'm like, but Barb's gonna like this one.
yeah,
I would say my ideal world would be a nice minor tune for my soft shoe, and I'll take anything for the hard shoe.
yeah. It's good choice.
I think so.
Well, I'm so curious about so many more things, all things music, but I feel like this has been an awesome chat, and it's been so good talking to you, Luke. And I cannot wait to listen to the new album and just listen to you at plenty more feshes to come.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I like what you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of the New View podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
If you have any ideas about future guests we should interview or want to connect, you can find us on Instagram at newview.collective or email us at newviewcollective.mm@gmail.com.